On Stick It To 'Em TV. Sorry about that, folks. Welcome back. I'm trying to get Harley Conkling on Stick It To 'Em TV here. Oh, come on. I think you have to accept the invite, Harley, in order for me to bring you on camera. There is a from what my friend Melody said, Harley, when you invite, there is a join button of a picture. Let's try that. I did invite you. Let's see if got the click that. Yeah, I'm trying to get him to come live. For some reason. All you gotta do is hit the join button. Actually, you know what? Let me try something else real quick. Yes, go live. Yes. Should bring you up. Oh, bring. Hey, Harley.
Hey, we made it, buddy.
Yes, we did. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we did make it.
You know, I mean, the world's changing. That technical stuff, boy, it's going on hard. I'm glad you're reaching out there. First, I want to say, good job putting something like this together for everybody. I can't wait to plug it in there and really start using this as a way to pass out info and get all the guys on board. We got to just sit here and kind of trade back and forth for a minute, because I know we're going to gain some listeners, we're going to gain some watchers, and then all these people are going to spread the word too. So
yeah, all it takes is a word of mouth. Like I said, my intentions on running Stick It To 'Em TV is giving the ones that are behind the wheel, the ones that build the cars, specifically for different small-time sports like mud bogging and stuff that you guys have going on at the bike barn, giving them a chance to have their voices heard. Stuff that you normally don't see on TV would be perfect for what I'm trying to do. So, and it all starts with just an idea. So enough about me. What about you? What do you got going on? Got any special plans for this year?
Oh, man, we always keep them guessing. We always keep it a little funny. But I'll tell you, nothing's really going to change for the guys that had perfect attendance last year and they ran their car through, never had a problem. They probably wonder what all the buzz is about. But the drivers that, I never name them personally, but we work together to get them on the track, and we change a few things. And we, at the end of the day, I think our whole goal is just to get all the cars a little more equal. And we're going to have 4 shows like we did last year. The spring show was kind of a gamble, and we ended up filling the slot, paying the purse. With the over 100 entries and paying an $8,000 payback at a race that size, it was huge. We were glad to see that. So what happened this year is Bill had told me that the May 12th demo is going to be just a demo. It's the very first time that I've had a chance to go there and just do demo derby on May 12th. So
Now,
May
are
12th, it's
you
going to be all
going to
demo.
be now? Are you going to be doing heats, or is it like one and done, or depending on how many cars show up at that derby?
Right. Well, and that's what's confusing for the outsiders that come to travel in. What we're going to be doing, our bone stock build off is going to be a special event. The other events, we're still going to run like we always do, one and done. The bone stock build off that you might have heard a little buzz about, what we do that is compact, the mid-size 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder cars. And I think the theme this year, from what I'm hearing on the feedback, everybody wants to run traditionally bone stock, knock the windows out and go. There's going to be some more updates coming out here on print, and the ways we're going to do it. We're going to offer a race inside of a race, but not to confuse anybody with the way we did things last year, the years before. We've been demoing out there since 1994, and we want to keep that
Wow,
going.
that's quite a long time.
Yeah, well, I know I'm starting to show it a little, with the racing stripes on the side and stuff, and
Yeah.
and you and your brother just getting down there last year and getting a small taste of that cake, and how anxious you are to come back. I can see that in so many other drivers. Well, what happened at the last event last year? We held a Rabo open, or Rabo patch versus Viola open wire. This was a confusing thing for some, but the guys that I targeted for knew exactly what I was trying to do. And what we're going to try to come up with is a third full-size class. This third full-size class, I take a deep breath, because it's going to be a guys that they drive hard, they build to the restrictions, and you're going to have real competitive racing. Our open weld is creative, and you win that race, you build your own trophy. On the this new up-and-coming pro class that I look for drivers to jump to, as in, I won't call it wire. I think we're going to use welded doors and some body mounts. We're going to have clean frames. We're going to have very specific inspection, processes in place where you're not going to get away with anything. And we're going to have an increased entry that's going to offer a larger purse for them. Anxious to get that going throughout the whole year. That's going to be one new class for 2018 that's going to maybe pull a couple of the compact wire drivers into full size, maybe pull a couple of my wire full size, what we call good old boys. The good old boys class is a fun class, but if you're about ready to use that slider drive shaft and that you want to use the braced rear end, you got a engine protector, you got these parts, these shifters and gas pedals.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to build a nice car. We want to build a good car. So that car's going to race a good race. And what we're going to have, it's a little better race for our guys that build right off the street. So if you still have the headlight bezel and the dashboard, you got a good chance. You're going to race against a little more level competitive, So
Now for
I guess
those
2018
who are building their cars, now those who are building their cars for say they build them under the assumption that they're building it for one class, and they bring their car into an inspection, especially for the May 12th Derby, will you give them the option, if it's not exactly built for that class, to move up, or will they be able to make adjustments to be able to make that class, or what?
You with me there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. You little glitch there in the
Yeah.
interweb. And I heard you say, when it comes up to May 12th, what I want to do, what the bone stock build off, and I should emphasize more on that, because I'm going to take over the entire bike barn for one day. I've never done this in all our demo derbying out there. We've always waited for the mud bog. We've always had a motocross in the morning. We've always had mud drags, side-by-side mud drags. We've always had an event all day. And we're going to take the whole place. We don't have no mud trucks. There's going to be plenty of, space to park, and hopefully what I'm going to try to do is offer 2 demo derbies in one day. The bone stock build off will be a compact only. There'll be 10 rounds as we did last year. We scheduled 10 qualifying rounds, and we take the top 2 to an impound. That impound, the top 2 of each.
Got a little bit of.
That's scheduled. They're going to bounce back into a feature.
Okay.
I think what we're going to do is use that. That feature is always our main event. And with 100 entries, the purse can get out of hand. We're going to be paying a lot more than what these guys are driving. But the new race that I proposed this year is the driver that can truly capture this, I think, is going to be the man who actually finishes the highest in more than one heat. Like, if there's 11 heats of racing, with possible 10 entries in 10 of them, and the 11th being a 20-car feature, I expect to tally a number by your finishing position and every time you competed. This number is going to decide who my bone stock builder really is.
Okay. Now, when you say bone stock build off, like you said earlier, yes. When you say bone stock build off, you're talking about just basic bust out the windows and go, correct?
That's right. Now, in our normal last year schedule and all the way through, we had allowed, the only real modifications were you could change the bumper. You could just change a bumper. You couldn't build a bumper. You couldn't weld up the bumper. You could just put a different bumper on it. But I'm hearing a lot of requests this year that they would bring more cars as if we left the front bumpers factory for the bone stock build off. So what I'm trying to go for here is the emphasis on this will not be who built the best car. It'll be who brought the most cars. It'll be who's the driver that can bring me three or four entries and go out and drive each one of those cars down to the top of a 10-car heat, and then compete in the feature for the best finishing position that he can get. Now, those each match puts a point or two on the scoreboard for a driver, and I'm looking for the guys that are willing to drive more than one car. I'm looking for the drivers that'll start collecting now, and they're going to fill their yard. They're going to strip them down. These are a tank and a battery away from, competing. We're going to swap the tires, but not the wheels. I got to have factory wheels, but I want right off the street with the bone stock being the theme. I still will have the class throughout the rest of the year where we change bumpers. We're not going to go away from that with the threaded rod and the bumpers that we let our good old boys have last summer. All the other classes, the minivans, the kids, 12 and under, 18 and under, they'll still change their bumpers. Everybody can still change their bumpers. But I would really like to get this bone stock thing together, get everybody on the same page for my 100-car qualifier, this 10-round event, to build that feature. And I say bring those cars. And what the beauty of this 10-round thing is now listen to me, if everybody's paying attention, there's 10 rounds, but we don't need 100 fresh cars because we allow you to buy back in. So if you raced in the first round, you have 9 consolations behind you. If you bring more than one car, you can compete in more than one round.
It gives you more of an opportunity to advance to the feature.
Right, that's right. And I plan on having a vendor there to take. So you'll plan on maybe getting $100 bill for your car body. You can pull your tank battery, bump, your tires, your equipment, your door bar, whatever. And again, I'm going to do some rules, and I'm going to put them here on Stick It To 'Em TV. I'm going to put the links on there. You're going to, we're going to do another few of these. I can tell.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Like I said, I definitely want to get a little bit more of an interview done with you on May 12th, a little more in depth on who exactly you are, where you came from, how long you've been doing it. This is just basically a preview on what's to come. Like we discussed earlier, kind of give them a little bit of what you want or are trying to do this year. Now, as far as May 12th goes, is it just bone stocks, or like are you having other classes that night?
Oh, hell yeah. The bone stock build off, that this is the race. We got to call the race something. The bone stock
Right.
build off is an event all in its own, but there's no way we would ever have a demo without including every other class. Now we've came up with 12 and under demolition derby that has built some really good 20-something drivers around here. Whiteside, Lee, Bureau, Carroll, our Northern Illinois area. I just feel like the younger class these are guys that are in the compacts right now running, pretty actively. And I wanted to help them, give them more younger competition right behind them. So since we've made that class maybe 10 or 12 years ago, I've seen some of the drivers advance out of that at 13, 14 years old, and they needed a place to go. So we came up with an 18 and under 6-cylinder class.
Nice.
Now, granted, if you're an 11-year-old that's ran 2 or 3 times and you hop in a 6-cylinder, you'll probably be just fine. I mean, but you're not going to run. And there's a dark line we got to cross. We got to show, hey, there's a class here for this and there's a class here for that. So moving from there, we've got the minivans, which has been real popular. We let you have 5 passengers in a minivan. So if you can imagine flipping the seats around backwards, everybody buckling up, you build a cage around the passenger compartment, and you can have up to 5 people.
Nice.
The full size wire, has came into what we call good old boys. Now there's just a drop a motor in and go. You get a little bit of motor mounts and a little bit of love to kind of get the axle under the car and stuff, but it's pretty tight. It's basically a competition that we also encourage you to come right off the street, like knock the windows out and go. That class has been running hard for a long time. And our open weld, what we called, we came up with years ago, was kind of an all or none. That open weld, if you have a car that's a roller, you put your drivetrain in, I feel like you could race that car 4 times a year there and get by fairly cheap on the repairs and everything else. You don't need to mess with it. It's a full-size weld car,
Right.
But as we were just talking, we're going to add a new class. It's going to be a very competitive full-size class, back to a restricted set of rules. It's kind of a tough car, and I think it's going to give for some real good spectating. I think it's going to be a class people are going to want to watch. Now, we have also brought the lawnmowers on. I look forward to those guys. They really do their part to put a show on. Not to count out our welded compact class. Some real aggressive builds in that. These are cars that they want to come out. They were begging for a 4th show because they really enjoy racing there. And I would never throw a show without options for every class that we ever ran. But
yeah,
the main thing's going to be is what I'm going to put it out there is I really, really would love to fill the qualifiers for this bone stock build off and get people to just kind of bring me bring that car that maybe you wouldn't even have thought you would have derbied, but Why not? It's a one-way trip. I'll be doing a Friday night parking lot again, like last year, where you can bring your car. If you got one trailer and 4 cars, I understand. Let's start hauling them early. We'll get them down there.
Right.
It's easy to sit here in January and say, oh, yeah, pre-enter, I'll send my money in. And I don't need you to pre-enter. I just need you to go out here and I need you to buy 2 or 3 cars over the next 3 months, strip the windows out of them, move the battery, move the gas tank, move on to the next car. Let's get them stripped and ready to run. And we're going to run these, and we're going to run them right off the street. I mean, that's who you're going to be racing against. And, the only way thought I'd ever be able to make it a little bit more equal is if I had a raffle where you'd have to draw for somebody else's car. How cool would that be? Like
that would be actually pretty fun.
You come to the race, you put your car in the line, and when it comes time to race, you hop in a car. And, so your car passes tech, it's just as good as any other car, but when it comes to the time to race, you don't even get to drive the car you built. You're going to be hopping in just anything.
Someone else's car.
Right. And I guess on that note, how extreme that would be, what's going to be the challenge to drive a car off the street and survive that peat monster out there. The track itself is just very deadly to a car. We took the logs out. You remember when you and your brother come down, we had logs. They put the walls in now. And, if you had chance to drive places with walls versus logs, well, now it's a whole new learning curve. And, these little cars, when you ram them, freight train them into a wall versus a log, they're really bad. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of bending going on. So.
Oh yeah. So, now May 12th, is it in stone? Is it exactly that day for that derby, or is it still in the works?
I don't mean to get all zoomed in here. Yeah, May 12th is down. We got the June 30th, of course, Firecracker weekend. We're going to do Labor Day weekend. We always do the Saturday night on Labor Day weekend. It's been kind of our World Series of Demo Derby for years. And then what we're going to follow up with that last man standing. Last year, the race was on the same day as the Fall Brawl. And, I talked to Tori about it. He knows it's not on us. We just do that. We follow a mud bog schedule that gets bumped around by a dirt bike schedule. And, well, this year we got our 28th, or I believe it's the 28th. It's the last Saturday of September will be our last man standing.
Nice.
So that one's going to be a good time. It's just a cleanup derby, and I like to get the derby and done before second week of October. It gets a little late, and then,
Yeah.
But I do guess we got to hand it to the Ramers for doing the New Year's Eve Derby this year.
I heard I heard the Ramers put on one heck of a derby. If I'm mistaken, didn't you take place in that derby? Didn't you have a car that went down there?
Oh yeah. It was a leftover Peat Monster car that the kids had thrown together, and it had issues. And to do it right, anytime I give somebody a car to build and they have a bad night at the track, we do the repairs, and I that's my ticket to ride. So I jumped in it and went down there, and we ended up we took 5 cars, and 3 of us took the top 3. So it was
nice.
A good time. Yeah.
Now I take it was rather cold that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a little, it wasn't, there wasn't a whole lot of activity outside of the track and, the concession stand. I think hot chocolate was going 2 for 1 that day.
Now, how was the track conditions? Were the track conditions pretty fair, or?
Well, I've drove at Mendota quite a number of times over the years, and it's a really muddy mess all the time. Every time you go down there, the drainage is a little off and the track holds water. And it was really nice to see that track under those kind of conditions, because believe it or not, it drove like it was sand instead of mud. And when you hit the cars, the shatter of the plastics and everything with being that cold, it was just a real different experience. You just, you had to.
Oh yeah, you could definitely hear a car hitting another car. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Oh geez. And I was a little uncomfortable with the weather all day long, but about 4 minutes into that heat race, I was just I felt like I had my feet next to the fire at a ski lodge somewhere.
Now on May 12th, what exactly time is it all going to start? You got a certain start time for May 12th's event?
Well, what we did last year was the gates will open at like 9 a.m. And since we're not sharing the grounds with anybody that day, and it's just demo derby, I think what we're going to do, the first 10 cars, the first cars that come through inspection, the inspection will start after the driver's meeting, and the first cars that are inspected and qualified to race will fill the first heat. So the if you follow me right, the race will actually start after the driver's meeting, and part of the race will be getting your car through tech. So as you kind of try to stay to the front of the pack, you want to race your car early. You want to qualify. You want to get it in the impound. Once your car is in the impound, you can go over and throw a tarp over it and come back after that 10th heat because nobody's going to touch them. They're going to sit there.
Nice.
I would bring parts. You're going to have plenty of time to work on the car, but you're going to have equal amount of time to work on the car as everyone.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, no one will have restricted to work on their car to try to qualify. We're going to get you, the winner's cars will go one way and the loser's cars go right back to the repair station, so we want every car to get their chance,
Correct. Now, for the little kids derby, what time, you mentioned something about the Power Wheels derby and the other filler classes. What time do the little kids go? Do they go before the event starts or at intermission?
Yeah. Oh, that's a real good question. What it is we have a dedicated Power Wheels track. It's it's got its own set of grandstands and we can actually do the Power Wheels. We do those at 4 p.m. and they run for an hour. It's a little more extreme than a lot of the Power Wheel courses out there. This is a log course. We've had fires, we've had wheels be removed, and it's a little more of a demo derby. And so what we normally would do is we put the balloons on the car. There's one in the front, one on the back. We do trophy the young driver that has the last balloon, if you would. It adds a little bit more theatrics to the driving on if they're hitting in the front or the back or what they're hitting, and it gives them a little more purpose. So we've came up with little things that make it original. And I guess somebody tuning into this TV out of my area, they're like, this sounds crazy. I need to get some more info. And that's what we're doing this for. But somebody in my area that's been down there, they're like, oh yeah, that's crazy. We've seen that before. We've seen this, we've seen that, So
they're used to it.
They're used to it. They're spoiled. They don't know what they got,
Well, I am just excited that we, got a chance to talk earlier and got a chance to do this. Definitely, for sure, can't wait for you to post the rules on this page. And anybody watching, if you have any questions, feel free to contact Harley. I'm pretty sure he'll be more than willing to answer any questions that you may have, or even just send him pictures of what you're building, and he can probably let you know yay or nay. But from my understanding, if I'm mistaken, Harley, the bone stock is just, if you have any questions about a bone stock, then I don't think you need to be derbying. You just basically said it's bust out the windows and go, right?
Well, exactly. Not to be confused with what we've done in the past. I still want to offer lots of competitive compact building. I'm not going to change the builds that we've came up with. They work really good. What we let these guys do in certain classes is not to reflect half of what we let them do over here or here, but what I want to do for this sort of buyback qualifier is really tighten up the rules on that one to a straight, legit factory, what we used to call good old boys. What's going to happen with the rest of them, with If you welded a car bumper onto your compact and it didn't come off of that compact, it came off of a full size car, well, that's legit in a different class. But what we're going to do for this qualifier, I'm looking for who can bring me the most cars that are the least built and do the best driving. It's a real trifecta. Nice. I want a car to win this event that no one even thought would qualify. I want it's an unbelievable, when the Saturn SL1 comes out on top, I'm going to be smiling,
All right, so real quick, I do have a question. It's from Chad Rositter, I believe. He asked, an 03 and up full seam weld and hump plates and welded in an engine cradle plus protectors, what class would that be in?
Well, when you're talking about an 03 and newer, and you say full seam weld, that's probably about the only thing that I'd be a little leery on full seam welds. But when we talk hump plates, engine cradles, and protectors, this is exactly where I'm going with this new full-size class. What I want to do is pro class, if you follow me, and offer that as just what it sounds for. I mean, you're going to be running against professional derby guys that run protectors, and they run store-bought or fabricated parts that we've all perfected over the last 30 years. It's taken a lot of advancement. It has, but I do not want this class to be, if you would, I'm not going to let this class get to be sort of the plate fest that a lot of weld classes have became, because I want to take that, if you would, I'd say seam weld only with no extra metal, and it's only top side of frame, and it's there's minimal extras that we can do. But Chad, if you're still listening, I am curious about that 03 and newer you got there, and bouncing a few things around, and I want to make sure I get you on the list. There will be some, unbeknownst to me, there'll be some printed rules. I hate them. I don't like printed rules. We talked earlier. We're going to put the rules on a video. We're going to show you because I want to talk about it. Another way to learn the rule book real good is on the track. You come down and you see what we go through, what we look for, what we're talking about, and if you start showing your face down there, you are having a good time, I think you'll understand how everybody runs and builds, and you'll find a class. Heck, we got 7 or 10 different classes to get you in. I don't think me or you are going to sneak in them kids classes, but then again, you
never know.
No, but. Another thing I got going
if you can fit into a Power Wheels car, that would be awesome. I would definitely pay to come see you fit into a Power Wheels car.
The hard part is, as soon as they drop the flag, it'd be like an 8-on-1. I think they'd see me as
they'd all gang up on you.
They'd all come get me. Yeah, they would, wouldn't they?
No.
I wouldn't.
Now, I have a question for you. Say if somebody's building a car, and do you allow aftermarket steering columns? And if so, what class would that be considered?
When it comes to steering and brakes, we just got to get the job done. I really don't mind an aftermarket steering column, even in the stockest level, because if you look at what they put, if you look at what they put in the components of a steering column that they probably removed, it's the same components as the aftermarket column. And that's my argument, and it's an opinion. And I can't take it to the high courts of the DI or anything, but I could say, I guess, when I look at the parts, it's the same parts that are in a factory column with the number of U-joints and the slidable pieces. And
yeah,
aren't we taking those pieces and just, doing the right stuff with them,
for the most part, yeah.
So when I'm talking about, a full size car that I got everything out of and I start over with a shell, what's going to separate that from bone stock, or what I call good old boys class, or what we used to call wire full size, and what separates that into what is the new class? is going to be basically, like I said, your DP. It's going to be hump plates. It's going to be a cage that goes from internally from firewall to the tank protector. There's going to be a rear window bar. There's going to be. This is a car we all know as maybe a fair class car of like the late '90s. And
Okay.
so some of the older guys are like, yeah, give me my 3/4 inch threaded rod. I'll bolt through the top side of the frame. Seam welding only on the frames, and then we are going to allow a few patch plates. These patch plates get complicated because guys get crazy. They think one patch plate is not equal to any patch plate, and so
Right.
there's some real stuff on where and how many and the legalities of all these patching and these plates. So I can't really get into that on this live video because I'll send everybody's gears turning and I'll blow up my messenger and I say that's getting creative. There's there's a million ways to put one of these cars together, and I just want everybody to do the way that gives them the most happiness, the most fun. You know what I mean? If it's a mini,
And the end of the day, at the end of the day, regardless if this is for the period that I've been derbying, I've known that, like I spoke with my brother the other day, he goes out there to try to have fun. If you have the mindset of winning, sometimes you do win, sometimes you don't. But if you can have fun out on your side, that gives you more of an adrenaline rush. So, for me, I'm coming down to your derby for the first time. I didn't actually get to come down when my brother was down there, because I had a different event going on at that time that I was a part of. So I'm really excited about bringing my car down to you, and I'm more wanting to put on a show for the fans that come and watch, and also try to have fun as well. So basically what I'm trying to say is, as long as you have fun and you follow what rules you have out there, all in all, you should have a pretty good day that day, correct?
Oh, well, and these rules are not a guideline to build the car on. They're just set out there to say, hey, if you do this, you can't race against the guys who didn't, and think about that
Right.
as you're putting together your next car. Would I want to race against a seam welded bumper if I wasn't building that kind of car? I mean, why would I want? Well, in that case, then, why wouldn't you take? I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand where the clear unfair advantage is owed to anybody. So what we're trying to do, and I loved the days back when we used to get 100 cars and they all raced the same race. You went, the top 3 went to the feature. The next 4, 5, and 6 out of that heat went to a consolation. If not,
Yeah, I remember back.
race.
I remember back growing up when, honestly, the icon cars, the full weld cars, they didn't even exist. I remember when they had a promotion company, Auto Race Promotions, where they had a day show full stock, pretty much bone stock, gut and goes, with limited, advancements, and then a night show as well. And it was just your basic stock car. Now with the time period as it moves along, derbying has progressed and upgraded to the level that it's at. So, I mean, definitely for sure, it would not be fair to bring what you would say a bone stock, which is bust out the windows, leave the seats, move the battery and the gas tank, compared to a car that has been worked on. So I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, and nobody died made me the demo derby, sheriff or anything in this area. We got a place to throw a number of derbies every year at the end of a mud bog, and we get to destroy the place. I mean, we go out there, not to say property damage, but I mean, we get to tear it up pretty damn good out there, and it's a good time. And it's also provided them enough, people that have came out and watched one show have came back and enjoyed other events. And, that's kind of what we're trying to do, is just kind of, fill that schedule with some good derbies that people like to come out and watch. And when I look and see the stands are a little thin one night, I wonder if maybe we lost a little bit of the production, and maybe we need to come up with a little more action or a little more theatrics. And I know it's not the drama, because there's plenty of drama between these drivers. I mean, they get out and they take swings on each other, and they steal each other's women, and they run off with them, and the car parts are getting stolen, and they're fighting over them on the internet. And I try to get in there as much as I can to stir that pot, but it just keeps them coming back. There's very seldom is there a fight down there over the actual, like, the racing. But again, it would just be pretty downright unfair of anybody to try to bring something in that's just not even on the same page. Don't put yourself in the position to make me find it on your car and tell you did it wrong, and then have to be upset at somebody, and you'll be upset at me, and then you'll come to me about it, and you'll end up leaving more upset than you were when you came to me, because I'm not going to really, it doesn't hurt my feelings, and then they get mad. So, what do? You're one less friend short, and you tell them, hey, I need the parking spot. So when they threaten they're not coming back, I say, I think I made a post at the end of the last one. I was just so frustrated. I said we had 87 cars and only 2 of them said they ain't coming back. So, we were accepting those odds. So I just want everybody to know that we don't negotiate with terrorists. You can't threaten me with a good time. I mean, come at me, and I'll tell you that for somebody who's never raced there before, bring a torch, for Christ's sake. Bring a torch, If you welded some crap on your car and you let somebody else weld on your car, you bought a car that somebody else welded on, you have a torch, bring it. Because just in case, I got 5 or 6 inspectors that are nameless right now, and I'll tell you, when their job is to inspect, they're going to inspect. They're going to do their job, and just like you would want them to do, just like you would do the job if you had the job, So for a small town like Fenton, Illinois, to host a 100-car show 4 times a year for me, I gotta do what I can. So but
now real quick, for those who are coming down to your show, price wise, what is the prices to get in and watch compared to what is your driver fees to get in?
Oh, well, that's pretty simple. It's $15 at the gate, or on the demo, it's $15 at the gate. And what happens there is that's the gate fee. Everybody pays gate fee. Doesn't matter if you brought a car or you're riding with somebody who brought a car, or you sat in the front seat on the way there, or the back seat. You could be in the 3rd row of the minivan. It's $15 to get in the gate. Doesn't matter where you sit. But when you come in the gate, that to enter the Derby, it's a $30 entry fee. Now, to ride passenger, it's also $30. But I've came up with a nice little plan last year that seemed to work real good for everybody, and that is, if you buy an armband, you can ride passenger. So if you pay for the entry of your car and you get an armband, or you pay to ride with somebody, you get an armband. Once you have that armband, you can actually throw a helmet on and ride passenger with anybody. Now, Every time your car's out there, there's an entry fee. We enter the car. Every time the car takes the track, the car needs an entry. But the passenger, once you get an armband, you're on. You're in. That's your free pass to ride. You can ride passenger in 9 out of 10 rounds in the build off. You can ride passenger in the feature. You can ride passenger with a minivan. Anyone will let you ride, you can ride. So kind of a nice way to, just like say, get those teams that bring 8 or 9 people and 3 or 4 cars. You're going to be able to get everybody involved. And I want those guys in the shop working hard that are going to ride passenger. They really kind of do a lot more behind the scenes than anyone ever would know,
Right. It's the ones that do a lot of work to the cars that really don't get recognized, that have their chance on being able to ride, So, but there you have it, folks. Straight from the man's mouth himself. You pretty much have, what, 3 months to find cars to get them ready for your first Derby?
Oh, it does. And I was gonna I'm gonna create an event on here. I'm gonna create an event, and I would like to start on that event page. I would like to start a buy sell trade of compact bone stock cars or cars that'll be available, and keep this sort of Pete Monster friendly. Like, these are cars I want to market. Some used cars that I come across. I'm going to be marketing them just for my event. Like, I mean, I could buy and sell cars from here to Oklahoma, but I'm just trying to get them to Fenton. I just want to fill my show, and if I can help you by scoring a car, or some of my people out there that donate cars to me to feed that Pete Monster, it's getting hungry, and we feed the Pete Monster. I work at a car lot. I sell cars. I smash cars too, and these other car lots in town, they'll donate me a car or two. I give them the signage. I give them the love. They support it. I know you think about my market, when I can take 60 or 70 cars off the road 4 times a year. That makes room to put a bunch more in the parking lot, so
Definitely, for sure.
I know up there, with you and, in your area, if you get a hold of maybe Sam and Tyler Hatcher, I think those guys are also running around getting cars at scrap weight. It's money in the bank. So
Yep.
I think we could start a network and start.
Speaking of Tyler Hatcher, I noticed he came to your events and did rather quite well down there.
Yeah, me and his dad go way back in Derby, and I mean, I can remember, seeing him, talking to him, hanging out with him. We kind of bump into each other every other weekend on the county fair schedule back in the day, and even the out of state races and stuff. But when he brought his boys down and turned them loose down there, they drive real good. They're dedicated. They do a lot of building. And they do build to the limit. They do build a legit car, but they drive hard. And when you're up against somebody like that and you let them go to the end, it's pretty easy for them to win. So those guys, hats off to them, and I hope I see them at every race. I'd like to get Sam involved in a little more of the tech inspection, but he's kind of running triple crew chief back there in the pits. He's keeping a lot of cars alive. So I don't know if I took him away from that and all of a sudden we're sitting there with 2 less cars for the show. I don't know where he's more important, but
right.
Yeah, I think what do you think about Spring Explosion? Are you going down?
I was going to, however, the new job that I'm starting, it kind of conflicts with the scheduling. So unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to make that one. So the first actual live event that I do is going to be the Bike Barn Derby.
Oh, heck. All right. Well, I mean, if I can move some things around and I can, maybe I can talk to somebody down there. I mean, who knows? I can't vouch for my time but I would love to go, I just,
right.
Like I say, I don't know as if I was even going to make the trip. I seen that, you had an event scheduled there with Spring X.
Yeah, I was planning on going to the Spring Explosion because my brother went down there a couple of years ago, and he said that it was an all-out blast. A team show that Derby Icons puts on. It's a big track. It's a very, all in all, a great weekend. I wanted to go. However, like I said, I had a work conflicting schedule, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make that one. But I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on how it goes down there if I can't make it,
Oh, yeah. Well, it wouldn't be something you'd want to just take one day. You'd really have to go for the entire, you'd want to take in the entire show, the whole weekend. I think I'd want to show up Thursday if I was going. I mean,
right.
Sitting outside the gate when Tori got there, knocking on the door.
Get there before the promoter even gets there. That's diehard fan right there, or a driver.
Yeah. I
So
wonder if he'd, yeah, you know what, like I said, I know it, we're going to try to actually do some live view racing, right? I mean, this summer we're going
yep,
to get
yep.
stick it to them TV. We're going to get it on. We're going to get it to where all of a sudden you get a notification on your phone, and we could be somewhere. We could be derbying on a damn Tuesday night. We're going to blow it up, and we're going to come
Oh
off
yeah.
of this camera, and then it's going to be on there. And you know, some nights we might do a good job, and some nights we might not get our point across. But I just want you to know I'm there for
We'll
you.
get
I
it
think
across somehow.
yeah. I think we're gonna work on this. I brought my connections I got on there are definitely going to get forwarded. Your way. I want to work with you on this to take it from. I mean, you're sitting in the basement, and I'm out here in my garage.
Yeah.
I don't even got the heat on. You know. And I was like, it's fine, but this is where we're going to start. It's the first
Yeah,
month of the year,
you
and
got
we're
to
just
start
getting
somewhere.
going. That's
You got to
right.
start somewhere. That's
So
like yesterday with the first episode I did. My brother's derby shop is literally a garage that was built for a full size RV to fit in. That's attached to his home. So and it's big enough to fit 2 cars in there. So he's like, you know what? My old lady has the house for herself. I have my derby shop. That was one thing that he liked about having that big garage is being able to still have room to work in and plus put 2 full size cars in. So I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean, I know a lot of people have big full size shops that they work in, but a true diehard derby driver, really, to them, it doesn't matter where they build their cars. Heck, if you're really a
no,
diehard person, you could build your car outside. You know?
you know, yeah. I actually one time we wanted to do a race where you take off and you drive your car through an inspection, and then as you do your 25 or 30-mile loop on some gravel roads and some off-road stuff I got planned, you would strip the car of glass, and you'd stop by dumpsters, and there'd be a truck here and there, and your team would stop and help you at these checkpoints, and you're actually building the car as you drive it. Now, I got a place for this, and we talked about it for years, but last fall we went and actually did the Gambler 500, me and a number of my friends. If you've ever seen that is basically what that was. It was like you're just driving your car. That Gambler 500, the following that it got, I have not seen that in a long time. With I think they had 200 or 300 cars at J.C. Whitney at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a 2-day,
Oh wow.
500-mile road rally that used GPS coordinates all over the northern Illinois. They stayed the night
Really?
at Cordova Dragway and then made their way back to J.C. Whitney the next day.
Nice.
They didn't say go out and get trashed and make a big mess of the place. They are actually very respectable about the rules and stuff. But I seen some stuff there that I really missed in the demolition derby back when if your car was out and the guy who pitted next to you lost a tie rod end, you ripped that tie rod end off your car and you gave it to him. And you just just so he could get back out there. And maybe you didn't even know the guy,
Right.
but you met him, and 10 years later he was a real good friend. So if I can create that this summer, that's what I'm looking for. I know I'm going to reach out a little bit with your channel up north, and I got some guys down in that Galesburg area that I want to really get in tune with and start bringing them home. They deserve their spot in the parking lot up there in Fenton. And today Johnny Wright's birthday. I don't know if you know Dirty Johnny or not, but Johnny Wright is the king of Linden, and he's also the Easter Bunny. But he's a good friend of mine. He runs a lot of demo derbies with us, and today's his birthday. If he was within an arm's reach, I'd spank
Well, happy
his ass.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to Johnny Wright. And I guess, like I said, I'm just really excited. I'm dragging this on because think of this. This is free. We got no cost. We can do this all day.
Right.
We're just getting some seat time right now, me and
Well,
you.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure, and it helps create a following as well. And like I said, it's the small time sports that doesn't you don't really hear too much about, like the lawnmower derbies. Honestly, if you're having that May 12th, that'll be the first time I ever see a lawnmower derby.
It won't be your last. You'll
No,
be
I
on the
bet.
buy sell trade ISO lawnmower derby lawnmower.
I bet you those guys get pretty competitive when it comes to building
Well,
them lawnmowers.
but what was really exciting about it, the group that I have, they come on the same trailer. The guys unload 4 lawnmowers off one trailer and go out and put on the show like they're just mortal enemies. They go back and share a couple Budweisers, ice cold, of course, and then they just throw them all back on the same trailer. And last year the Drivers for Drivers, a little charity that is kind of an unnamed group of drivers we put together, and we always help every summer. We try to just raise some money through a raffle car or through maybe we'll throw like something we can put together as a drawing or something we'll give away. But the Drivers for Drivers thing, the efforts last fall, we've got a demo guy of our, a close friend of ours up here that was battling progressive lung cancer, and he's in some pretty bad shape with treatment.